Here we are in Medieval Dynasty, and I have been playing, my goodness, I mix them up, Noble Legacy, which I have been enjoying. And I also wanted to play Medieval Dynasty because they're dramatically similar games, but Noble Legacy brings to the genre a different twist on what Medieval Dynasty has done with fully modular building options. But Medieval Dynasty has been around for a bit longer, and it's a much more polished game. It's in its full release state, and so I don't know, I don't know which one I'm gonna like the most. I do like this here where you load up your save and it allows you to change your session from a solo session into a co-op session. So if you wanted to play with someone else, you could totally do that, and I think that's actually super cool. Like if you wanted to play with, I don't know, your spouse or something, right? Like being able to just take a single player game and turn it into a multiplayer experience without losing your progress. I think that's actually really cool. I do like the artwork on the loading screens. And one thing I really love about Medieval Legacy is, or Medieval Dynasty, is that you can have first-person mode. What I don't love as much, well, one thing is these doors. It's so weird. Like, you can't lock doors. You just walk through them. And they are like swinging doors, which is kind of weird. And then houses are all prefab. So if you want to put a house, you just build a house. Like, you can't design what shape it's going to be. You can't determine how many floors it's going to have. None of that. You place the template and then you build that. And it is what it is. Like, it's kind of nice because it makes it easier to, I guess, play the game. But there's less to customize. And so that's something that I don't like. So like right out of the gate, I'd say like there's a few things I like more about Medieval Dynasty, and there's also a few things that I don't like as much about the game too. So I will be playing both just to kind of get a feel for, you know, which one is more fun. So my character is making grunty noises. Why? I don't know exactly. I think it might be because I'm getting too hot. You have to take care of your personal needs like food and water. So like I'm going to go out here to the river, get a drink, so I'm not thirsty. Yeah, I hear you. What a scorcher, he says. So I think I have some food. So what I've been doing is selling anything that I can find in the market, like even logs or random stuff that I've gathered, and then taking that money and buying meat at the market. And then I bring the meat home and I cook it on the fire in my house. So anyways, I have some roasted meat. I have tried to catch some animals, and that was really, really not a good situation. It was a very unfortunate experience. All the animals got away. I wasn't even able to catch a rabbit, so, you know, there is that. Controller works very well, switching back and forth between keyboard and mouse and controller. So, you know, what am I going to do here? I don't know. Let's see. I have to remind myself what the controls what each control does. All right. So buildings. What can I build? Can't build anything there. I already have a well. Resource storage 1. Oh, so I can build a resource storage building? That is a monstrously large building. Now, this is another thing I do not like about Noble. My goodness, I'm gonna keep mixing up those game names. About Medieval Dynasty, is that there's not really any top-down view of your village. Like, if I wanted to look down, get a bird's eye perspective, and then say, how am I going to lay out my village? I can't really do that. Like, I can just sort of walk around and kind of get a perspective of what it is I'm trying to do, but I can't really get a good view of it from above. So, like, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like when all is said and done necessarily. And I guess if you want to play devil's advocate, you could say, well, in medieval times, people didn't necessarily have bird's eye views either. They just kind of had to lay things out, you know, on the fly. So I guess that's fair, but I do wish that this game, being as far along in development as it is, I wish it would have something like what Noble Legacy has, which is an option to easily switch to a top-down view so that you can look down and really see what you're doing. Okay, so I want to build this foundation, but I need stone. So where's the stone at? Now, here we can hit X to get a torch, which helps with maybe finding things. There's also animals and bandits and stuff, so I had a terrible experience with a boar chasing me. The boar actually killed me multiple times. The boar followed me into my own house and finished me off in there too. So that was rough. But anyway, so I'm just gonna run around and look for some stones if I can find them. Oh, there we go. Look at that. There's little ants. That's kind of cool. Those are the type of details that I like to see. Like, it's just super cool. It is definitely nice to play a game where it feels like it's polished. Like, you aren't going to find bugs or something that says, oh, this is early access, so it's further on down the line in the roadmap, and you are like, well, I guess I'll have to come back later and see if the devs added in eventually, or, you know, you wonder, like, is your save going to still work eventually when they get around to, you know, updating the game or something. Sometimes updates break save files. But with a game like this, it's, you know, it's complete. It is what it is. And I do like that. So, looking around for stones should be easy, but, you know, when you're a primitive villager in the Middle Ages, nothing is simple or easy. I'm getting winded. I can hear myself panting. It's all right, bro. Just look for stones and sticks. That's all we're doing. So, I have 7 stone. There's some reeds. As somebody who was a fan of the gathering in New World, I would say gathering in Medieval Dynasty probably is the closest thing I have found so far to that kind of a feeling of just that therapeutically fun, chill vibe of gathering materials. My torch is broken. I'm carrying too much. Okay. Well, let's go back over here and do a little bit more building. That'll reduce my carry weight a little bit. Maybe eventually I can like get better clothes or like a backpack or something. So now I'm inside my house, but I can't see what's going on. So I've managed to stumble around in the dark and find my chest. So it looks like where is my carry? Okay, so I can carry up to 35 kilograms. The cost of my clothes and my tools is 7.3 kilograms. It would be really nice if I could maybe craft more torches. And I know I have my bed. There's my bed. I found my bed. So let's sleep until the next day because I cannot even see what I'm doing. All right, so I have woken up and it is a fresh new day. Pretty dark in here, but I do have a window without any curtains or shutters or anything. But you know, I have my small, humble home. And we look at the map, that's where I'm at. We have the town of Piastovia, and we have the town of Klinika to the north. And then there's some kind of a swamp situation over there. And that's where we live. We've got a little spot here right where the river bends. And that is going to be, apparently that's going to be our home. And I don't know, like maybe I should go look around somewhere else to find a place to call home. Like I could go over there and build next to that lake. But in this case, I really just kind of figured, you know, I'm going to just kind of just follow my nose and see where it takes me. And I wound up finding this little spot here. And that's where I decided, you know, I'm going to start building. Now, the lighting effects in this game are pretty good, you know? Like, it's not necessarily as good as some games, but it feels nice, you know? Like, it's cozy, it's pleasant. Somebody said the best way to look at a game like this is to say it's like Stardew Valley, kind of. Like, that's kind of the attitude you should have when you're playing it. I think that's a good way to probably sum it up. Like if you're playing a game and you have expectations which are not reasonable, or you expect it to kind of like be different than what it is, then you'd be disappointed. But if you understand, like it's meant to be played more like a cozy game than a, you know, a brutal RPG type thing. But, you know, the more I play, the more I realize, like, that's exactly the kind of vibe I kind of want in a game. Like, I don't really love extremely combat-heavy games. Not saying that I don't like some combat in a game. I do. But I like more of the, you know, just happy, chill kind of stuff you can do that put you in kind of a flow state, and maybe not so much quest objectives. You know, like, it's hard for me to get too much into the games where you're trying to work your way through quests that are difficult to complete. You know, like, I'm trying to work my way through a Skyrim playthrough, and it's like pulling teeth for me to make myself do it. I do enjoy it, but then I also sometimes don't like just feeling like I have to go do the next thing on the list. Same thing with Baldur's Gate 3. Like, that's an incredible game. Like, I have nothing but positive to say about Baldur's Gate 3. Like, even if it's not your type of game, it's still probably something everyone would benefit from experiencing at least once. But it's also kind of hard for me to get into it. Just because it's kind of, you know, like, you're always having to go do something to interact with a quest. So it doesn't feel like it's just your adventure that you're on. I think it's useful to just get comfortable with the constraints of whatever game you're playing. Like, in Noble Legacy, you can build buildings however you want without using prefabs at all. In this game, you do have to use prefabs. But then, like, you know, that's okay, right? Like, every game is a little different, scratches a different itch, kind of. Like, listen to that tree. Cracking, falling. And then it falls, and now we have to knock it into smaller pieces before we can actually take the logs. I mean, say what you want, but that may be the best tree cutting experience I've had, to be honest. I don't know. Like, New World was pretty good, but this is pretty good. You've got the tree falling mechanics. If you're trying to have a good tree chopping experience, which oddly, it seems like, I feel like tree chopping should be its own genre. Like, that's like a thing. Like, just the joy of going at a tree, chop, 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 and you get yourself some lumber, and now you're, you know, a little bit closer to having your empire finished. I think you could have a game that's just, you know, wood chopping simulator, and people would probably buy it. One thing I have noticed in this game is you do have to switch between tools. So, like, if I go up to a tree, it's not going to automatically switch over to my axe. So I have to go switch my tool so I can do that task, which isn't a big deal, but that's something that I thought Medieval Dynasty didn't do right, and Noble Legacy did. Because in that other game, if you walk up to a resource, you don't have to change your tool. As long as you have the tool, the game will just know you need to switch your tool to do that task, and it will do that for you. So not a big deal at all. Just one of those little things that kind of stood out. I do like it. It says that this is a birch tree, which kind of makes it clear that, like, we have different kinds of trees, and the game will make a point to let you know. Like, that's a maple. And I believe the way it works is if you don't cut down if you don't dig up the stumps, then the trees will grow back. If you do dig up the stump, then the tree will not grow back. Again, that's pretty cool. And just imagine how much work goes into just even, like, you make the tree models, and then you make the tree falling animation system, and then you create another system for displaying the tree chopped up into various logs. And then if you check, you'll see that there's actually physics on the logs. So like if we chop down this, I'm gonna shoot my garbage axe is broken, so I gotta look into making another stone axe here. That's probably gotta be one of the things I put on my bucket list. I need to figure out how to make myself better tools. But if you do use up a tool and you have more, the game will automatically replace the tool you broke with another one that you have in your backup inventory. In any case, if we chop this tree down, see, like, it fell against another tree and so it got stuck. And it'll just stay there. Then we chop it up a little bit more. And if we run into it, like, it rolls. Like, isn't that cool? Like, I think that's pretty dang cool. Like, it rolls. If I walk into it, it's gonna get stuck because it's up against like a stone and another tree trunk. So like there's collision on all of this stuff. Like, if I go to the end of the log, it's easier for me to push it. Whereas if I go here, like toward the middle, just like it would be in real life, like the physics of this, whoever did that, like, they did a dang good job. I love that. It's pretty dang cool. Which, maybe it's a little bit corny to get obsessed with the animations on cutting down trees, but matters to me because that was like my main exciting thing about New World, believe it or not. Just hanging around in the woods, cutting trees down. Now that sounds like a loser thing to say probably, but that's the truth. And I know I'm not alone neither. A lot of people like just gathering and chilling in that game. So it's going to take a lot of sticks and logs to finish up this building. But again, this is one of those games where you can automate a lot of things as you make your way through the game, because your townspeople will start doing work for you. So you start off having to do a lot of the work yourself, but then as time goes on, you do less and less of the work and your villagers do more and more. And then you just become like a, you know, city manager, basically. This is a really good time for city builders in general. Like, there's so many amazing games that are coming out or have come out, or games that have just reached their full release. Like Planet Zoo, for example, just finished all of the content that they really are planning for the game. And now they said, we're going to start working on Planet Zoo 2 in like a year or something. But the nice thing is, like, that game is now in a place where if you play it with all the DLC, you're playing that game in its fullest possible state, where everything has been made, everything is out, like there's tons of animals you can choose from. You know, like that's just super cool, you know, to be able to play a game where, you know, like the you know, that just launched feel is over and all of the content that the game's going to have is out, so you get that full experience. Like for me, playing Skyrim is like that. I'm playing Skyrim pretty much for the first time, you know, like I'm taking my time with it, but I'm playing it modded, and the experience I'm having as a first time Skyrim player some 10 or 15 years after it came out, you know, that's pretty cool to be able to have, you know, your first time experience with a legendary game is at the absolute best time in the game's development cycle. I know for Medieval Dynasty, there's more stuff coming out at the end of the year. They have more updates planned, so that is definitely cool to know that there is more coming out. This game is not abandoned by the developers by any measure. I was also thinking about whether I might want to try the version of this game that's set in Japan, but I don't know. Sometimes it feels like when they do spin-offs, it's just a, you know, it's kind of a knockoff of something that was really good. So like Medieval Dynasty started off like that was the game, and then they came up with something else, and I don't even want to try to say it because I'm sure I will butcher it really, really bad, but it's like Sengoku Dynasty or something like that. Anyways, that's basically Medieval Dynasty, but in a Japanese setting, which could be really cool because, you know, I'm half Japanese, so I have a little bit of a affinity for that. But there's also that timeless vibe of that medieval village, whether you're playing Skyrim or a game like this. It's like, I don't know, like that's the setting, you know? It's kind of crazy when you think about it, how there's so much fantasy that is based on that common theme of essentially medieval Europe. And it makes me wonder sometimes, like, why is that such a beloved time in history? And it was also such a difficult time, you know, like it was a time when there was a lot of darkness in the world. People were often not literate. People often died of simple diseases. It was not, by many measures, a very good time to live. And yet, we really love that time in some ways. We love it because it was simpler, probably. We love it because maybe it's easier to get your head wrapped around what's going on. Maybe that's what it's all about. Like, if you think about it, it's not hard to understand the premise of what anyone did in the Middle Ages. And in today's society, it can be really difficult to understand what your place in the world is. I think that that's what part of what maybe unsettles us with modern life. Like, you can say that life is better, but everyone just kind of manages a much smaller part of their life. And so we all feel like we're kind of helpless. Like, maybe I do some particular thing in my job and I know how to do my job, but I don't know how to do most of the things in my life. You know, like if my car needs maintenance, I'm not going to probably do the work on it. I'm probably going to go take it to the mechanic, and I'm going to be at the mercy of them to help me do the maintenance on my car. If there's a problem with my plumbing, I'm probably going to call the plumber, right? Like, the list goes on and on. Like, everything in our lives, if something needs to be done, we call the person that specializes in that specific thing. And that leaves us feeling like we aren't very good at doing anything for ourselves. And when you go back to that medieval fantasy of just, you know, building your homestead out in the middle of the woods, it's comforting because it's all stuff you could do with your own mind and your own hands. And you would feel like, even if life isn't perfect, the life I have is a life that is mine. I think that's a big part of it. But then the other thing is community, you know? Like, if you think about it, if you lived in a village of 300 people, say, well, you'd know everybody in your village. But when you live in a city, even if it's a small city, like I lived in Helena, Montana for 5 years and knew very few people. Imagine if you live in a town of 50,000 people, even if it's kind of like it's a small town, you still don't know everybody. You know very few people. You know the people you work with every day, probably, you know. But that sense of community in a small town is, you know, special. And the sense of community in a small village is even more special. I gotta point out, going back to those log physics, like, doesn't that look pretty incredible? Like, that log fell into the water, and you can just so easily see, like, the part of it that is submersed under the water just looks so good. Like, my goodness. I like that. Yep. All right. Got distracted again by the logs. Gather some straw. Being able to be in first person mode really helps a lot with the immersion. Kind of tired of this dude constantly complaining about how hot it is outside. Like, yeah, I mean, it's summer and you're working, man. Are you gonna keep on complaining about how hot it is? You got water. You got food. You had your lunch. Now get to work. You are not at risk of dying. So, I do wonder, though. I wonder if I can get better clothes that will help me with this heat stroke situation. I also wonder how often those trees will rebuild themselves. I mean, regrow themselves. But, uh-oh. What's going on here? I hear the combat music. Uh-oh. It's probably a pig coming for me. I better run. I can hear the pig, too. This is not good. I gotta run. Is that pig? Oh, shoot. It's a danged bison. Oh, no. I'm gonna get in here and hope he doesn't... I hope he doesn't come in. This is not ideal. I don't have anything to fight with. I just wanted to do some wood cutting. All right. Is he gone? Okay. The music has stopped. Is it safe? I think it's safe. All right, I'm going back out. That's some funny combat music too. Now, another thing I wanted to do is I wanted to go check my rabbit trap, which I set a little while ago, and that's where I got ripped up by the pigs on my way there last time. So you have to be careful. But I did want to go check on my rabbit trap to see if I was able to capture a rabbit. The music in this game is also a lot better than Noble Legacy. Noble Legacy music is fine, but it is the kind of music you hear it once and then it just starts to feel super repeaty. Like you're like, yeah, I've heard this once, I've heard it enough.
It's hot.
But the music in this game feels like, uh-oh, shoot, a pig is coming. Dang it. I gotta go hide again. This is not good. Like, this is where... This ain't hard, like... It ain't hard, like Valheim. It's nothing like that. But... Like, when you're low level and you just started... A pig... can definitely do you in. I'm just gonna say that. My goodness. So, I don't know if this was the best area to settle. Like, I've had a buffalo come out of the woods at me. I have had a,
It's hot.
I've had a pig come at me. You know? Sometimes life isn't easy. But that's all right. Next time I go to town, I'll probably see if there's anyone who has any kind of clothing that's like nicer clothes. But I'm gonna have to find stuff that I can sell in town too, like, because I have to spend my money right now on food so that I can have something to eat. I also need to figure out how to heal myself because that pig took a chunk out of me. not really sure whether I like the prefabs or I don't. Like, what I do kind of like is that once you build something, it feels complete because you already have decorations and stuff. So once you build a structure, it just, you know, it looks good right away. But the downside is, like, you can't actually decorate the inside of your houses or anything. Like, they just are what they are, you know. You can add some stuff, you can decorate outside, but you're not really going to change the way the inside of a building looks in this game. It just looks like what it does. But it will be interesting to kind of play both games side by side and then see, like, what's my final take. I would imagine this will be the game I spend more time on in the long run because it's more feature complete. So even if there's things I like about the other one, this is going to be the one where you could probably sink a few hundred hours into this game and just have a great time chilling and tinkering around and stuff. So maybe the trick to not being overheated is to work at night. Now it's dark again, and I need to find stones, and I don't have a torch again, so I guess once again I'm gonna have to go to bed. I wonder if I go to sleep, if it will heal me. It might. It did. So that's good to know. If you don't want to take some kind of food to make yourself healthy again, you can always just go to sleep until the next day. So now I can look around for stones. It does seem like the start in Medieval Dynasty is a lot slower and a lot more difficult than I expected it to be. Not that the game is hard, it's just like initially there's a lot of animals that could be a threat to you. There's a lot of stuff where, like, you have to learn how to play the game. Like, I've been playing for a little while and I still don't really feel like I'm particularly close to going and finding anyone to recruit for my village. Like, I'm still just running around doing solo stuff because it's hard enough for me to figure out how to hunt a rabbit or how to feed myself. Whereas in Noble Legacy, like, it's right out of the gate, you're building stuff and you're recruiting somebody to come live in your village, and it just feels like immediately you get that vibe that it's a colony management kind of a situation, whereas in Medieval Dynasty, if I didn't know that this was a colony manager type game, I would just think I was playing a single player RPG 100%. I want to find more stones. Kind of hard to find stones. Like, they're around. If I can find some straw, I can build another torch. Oh wait, where is that? Another stone. I gotta keep my eyes open for stones at all times, because when you want them and you gotta go find them, they're kind of elusive.
It's hot.
There's dandelions. That's good. Thistles. All right, so everything I'm doing is helping me to level up, so that's good. Get another drink of water while I'm here.
Dang. It's hot.
All right. Craft 2 torches, because those are really nice to have at night. We're almost done building this storage shed. Really is a sizable building. Kind of crazy in a way when you think, like, I barely know how to survive and feed myself, but then, like, suddenly I apparently have the ability to craft this enormous building with my hammer. All right, I got to go back to the river to get a little more straw, and then we should be done. So if I press down my left joystick on the controller, that allows me to kind of sprint a little bit. So that's kind of a good thing to remember next time I'm being chased by a pig. Definitely one thing I noticed right out of the gate is hunting is not easy in this game, in the same way as a lot of other games where, like, normally when they say go hunt an animal, like, that's the absolute easiest thing that you're gonna do. It's like walk over and click your mouse and now you've caught some meat. In this game it ain't like that. Like, you craft your basic spear and it doesn't go very far, and the animals run away when they see you coming. And even if you hit them, you're not gonna kill them immediately. So, like, you wind up really struggling initially to even do something simple like taking down a deer or something is not a super fast, easy, instantaneous, once and done kind of thing. I'm sure it is when you are leveled up more, but when you're just finishing the tutorial, it's not, which is probably actually pretty cool, because if you think about it, if you want the immersive experience of getting started with something, it's not supposed to be outrageously easy, right? So anyways, we got this open field. We got ourselves a storage shed. Not even 100% sure what I'm going to do with it. I mean, like, I know it's a storage shed. But I think so like, this is not really a place where I need to go store resources. It's just a larger capacity storage area where once we have workers will put the resources in here. And it's also a place where workers that need resources will be able to come to get them. So this is going to be useful once we have some kind of a workforce. So let's look and see in the build menu, what buildings are we able to build? Survival, do we have hunting lodge? All right, so that's probably the next thing we want to build. We need sticks, logs, stone, straw, same basic thing, nothing too complicated. What would be amazing is if we could build this hunting lodge, and then we could hire a hunter who will help us to get food for ourselves, because that's our biggest issue right now, is the food supply. Like, I don't want to have to keep on trying to, like, sell sticks in the marketplace in the town to get food to eat for another day. So we're going to just place this nice and close behind the storage shed. I don't want to go too far out into the woods, because the pigs and the bison and stuff will come out to beat me up. So we're not going to go too deep into the woods. And now I gotta go find more stones. My goodness. Look at that. Sticks. I have a quest over there. It says, stay vigilant. Keep an eye on the situation in Oxbow. I don't know. What is this situation we speak of? If I go across the river, maybe I can find more stones. Oh, look. There's a bird. And some kind of a camp. I wonder if I could catch that bird. I'm gonna craft a wooden spear. I also like how the inventory management system and the overall, like the way the game plays, feels surprisingly reminiscent of a game like Skyrim. So like if you played Skyrim, the way this game feels is pretty good. Like it's kind of similar. See that? I try to shoot that bird and no, nah. All I did was scare him away and waste my time. Well, give me my stick back. Maybe next time. Now, what do we got over here? This looks interesting. This could be useful. Someone left a camp here. Is this useful to me? Large wicker basket and coins. 150 coins. Wow. Okay. What? The heck? Oh, look. It's a campfire. That's kind of cool. Oh. I can't move because I am now carrying too much. I guess, what is it that's weighing me down? Okay.
What a scorcher.
I'll have to come back for this. It looks like that's some good stuff over there. Well, there's my village. I got myself a nice house and a nice garage and a well next to the little stream. Like, that's pretty cool. I like that.
What a scorcher.
Now, I wonder if I can I drop off my materials here in the storage building that I built? Hopefully. All right. Yep. We'll simplify what we're carrying here. I'll go back around the back and work on my construction project a little bit to lighten my load. Uh-oh. Broke one of my hammers, but thankfully I had another one. There's a stone. you have this inspector mode, so you can see some stuff, but it doesn't show you like all of your materials. So like if I was looking for stones, it ain't gonna help me with that. Just have to look around on the ground.
Dang. It's hot.
My goodness, I wonder if I can go into the settings and take away that annoying dialogue that repeats itself. Like I get it, my character does not like being hot on a summer day, but hearing that over and over again kind of starts to get a little bit old after a while. I wonder if stones respawn after a while. I would assume they do. But maybe, like, at some point we have to stop looking for single stones and start looking for, like, bigger rocks. Like, maybe we'll have someone working at a quarry or something. I don't know. I think I will see. I wonder. If I go into audio settings, sound effects, environment, user interface. So let's just take the voice down to 0. Because I like to hear the game, but I don't really want to hear that voice of myself interrupting me constantly if I don't need to. We can change it back if there's a need, but this game doesn't really have voice acting in it, so you're not going to really miss not hearing NPCs talk, because it's going to be the same basic thing. Like, you'll hear what they have to say a few times, and then once you've heard it, it probably winds up being kind of repetitive and obnoxious after the 100th time you've heard it. Especially if I'm playing for a video I'm gonna be sharing, then it's obnoxious if I'm trying to talk and then I hear my NPC self talking over my real self. Now, I don't know though, what is the deal with heat mechanics in this game? I'm gonna have to look into that and figure it out. Like, so like now I can't move at all. And the reason I can't move is because my max carry is 50 kilograms. Ideally, I shouldn't carry more than 35, but if I'm overweight more than 50, then I can't move at all. So I'll drop a couple sticks, and that should make it possible for me to make my way back to camp. It definitely is a thing where you kind of start thinking, yeah, I'm gonna want to get some hired folks on board here so that I'm not just doing this until the end of time. Again, though, it really puts into perspective how there's other games where there isn't any mechanic for automation. Like, all you're doing is doing all the work yourself. And that's, you know, that's tiresome. If all you ever do is just go get more resources so that you can do whatever the next thing you're going to do is, like, you can never have those resources automatically flow in. Once you play a game where you have the ability to hire agents to automate some of this stuff, it makes it feel almost ridiculous to contemplate going back to a game where every single mat you gather has to be gathered with your own character's hands. Well, time to go get some more logs. If you want a game that's really, really all about grinding and crafting, Worm Online, I've heard, is kind of cool. It's one of those old MMOs with terrible graphics, but every single thing in the world is player crafted. And you can terraform and reshape the ground and do all kinds of stuff in that game. But it goes back to time commitment, you know? Like, you want something that makes you work for it, right? Like, you want a sense of slow progression, because if everything's just instantaneous and easy, then it doesn't feel like it's special. But you also don't want, you know, pyramid building simulator. Now you can go build the pyramids one stone at a time by yourself. I mean, yeah, that's great. It's going to take you your whole life, and then when you die, then you can share your save file with your kids, and then they can continue construction where you left off. You'd be like, well, that sounds like a cool game. I don't know if I want to do that, though. Like, that's where you want to have some kind of a balance between something that is a little bit time consuming, but not something that tries to consume your entire life for virtual progression. You know, like, I have a lot of games. Like, that's been what I've been thinking about. Like, I was talking about it in other videos, but I have so many games. I want to play them. I want to have a save file that I can progress and be able to say, hey, you know, I had a really great time playing these games. And I can't do that if I'm constantly playing something that requires essentially an infinite time sink, and there's no opportunity to get to a point where I can say, you know, now I'm kind of done with the main part of what I was doing in that game, so I think I'm going to move on to the next thing on the list, right? And that doesn't mean you never come back. It doesn't mean you say, oh, well, like, I'm done with the game. I've finished it. I'm not going to play anymore. It's just, you know, like this game. Like, if I get to a point where my settlement is kind of built up and I've done most of the stuff that I wanted to do in the game, and there's not really anything pressing to do because I've got my settlement and I've done my thing, then I can totally say, well, maybe I'll come back and tinker around or hang out and enjoy, you know, taking another look at what I've done, or do a little bit of something that just entered my mind that I wanted to do. But you can get to a point of general completion, and then you can move on to something else. And I think that's more healthy than just being completely married to one particular game. That's why I like Elder Scrolls Online, because I don't have to worry about really playing it in any kind of a time commitment way. I just go in there and gather a few mats and sell them on my guild stores and call it a day. You know, I don't really care what I do or don't do in that game. It's just a pretty environment to run around in and chill in, or maybe make a video about something that's on my mind. This axe symbol always kind of confuses me a little bit, because for whatever reason, I feel like it looks more like a hoe than an axe. Now, when I decided I wanted to start making gameplay videos on this channel, I thought about whether I might want to just do streams. And then I realized I totally don't want to do streaming, just because I want a big part of why I'm doing this, to be mindfulness. And it's not mindful if you're constantly reading chats on the other screen to see what other people who come join your stream might have to say. Like right now, I don't really have a big following that would probably be doing that. But when streamers do have a bunch of people watching their streams, then the problem with that is it becomes a performance thing, right? Where you're like, yeah, like as I'm playing, I'm just talking out loud, which is cool. I'm just talking about whatever's on my mind. And we can totally have a conversation in the comment section, because if you watch this and you have something you want to say or something that's you think is interesting to talk about, we can totally talk about whatever we want. But that's just different, though. It's different than when your concentration is totally divided between trying to focus on what you're doing and focus on saying things to other people, or constantly having something to say. But there is something to be said for the art of being able to run your mouth, right? Kind of like I'm doing now, I guess. Like it doesn't feel like a skill until you realize, like, can't like there's not really as much value in doing something like this if I'm going to like record gameplay but I'm not going to have anything to say about it. Like, then that's just boring, right? So I do want these sessions to be focused on the game and focused on having fun, but also focused on, talking about something. So right now, I was trying to find more straw. Oh, there we go. Reeds. The ambient music is just really nice in this game. And I want to say I purchased the supporter pack, like the digital supporter pack or something, and so I have all of these soundtracks too. So I like video game soundtracks, so I always will make a point to buy and save them whenever I can. I was looking on Amazon Music and I saw the New World game soundtrack is also available on there. So that was on my list. I plan to buy those MP3s and save them too, because New World has a really beautiful soundtrack, and maybe that was one of the best parts of the games, was having a soundtrack that really just suited the game very well. But as much as I have talked about kind of being mindful and not dividing my attention between a bunch of different things, a game like this can be a really great opportunity to kind of have a second screen activity, like watching a movie or something, right? Because that is one thing, like I do like to always be able to like be doing something. Like watching a movie, just sitting there doing nothing for 2 hours, kind of hard for me to do that. Okay, so what do we got here? Hunting lodge. Are we all done? I believe we are. Very nice. Pretty cozy. We got the bows on the wall. Everything we need for a hunter to come and join the family. So, shoot, I am getting hungry, and I didn't even realize my health bar. Well, my health bar is okay, but I have not eaten, and I am like totally starving. So I'm going to eat a bunch of, let's see. I'm gonna go back to my chest in the house over here and pull out some of my roasted meat here. So I have some dried meat. Dried meat is plus 10 food. Roasted meat plus 12. All right. Well, I guess I don't want to transfer the whole stack, because then I won't have room for anything else. Okay, so I've eaten, and I can get a drink out of the well. I wonder if I can decorate my walls inside my house with something so it's not dark in here. Probably, but I guess we're not going to worry about that. Okay. And now it is summer. No, it's autumn. Okay. When the time comes, the herald will arrive at one of the local taverns, including yours. He may present you with one of the king's challenges. These are not mandatory tasks, but successful fulfillment of the challenge will increase your dynasty's reputation and strengthen your relationship with the king. Remember that you can turn off the tutorials. Yes, okay. I probably need the tutorials because I don't really know what I'm doing. So, again, comparing this game to Noble Legacy, the way the environment looks, the way the seasons look, the turning of the seasons, absolutely beautiful in this game. Better than Noble Legacy. So, you know, just saying. Like, the way it looks is pretty dang cool. Like, and that's a big deal to me, because like being able to just kind of chill and just enjoy the atmosphere of the game. That's a big part of what I look for. So I want to go, I'm going to follow the riverbank because that'll take us back to town. And what I really wanted to do is to see if I can find someone to recruit. And I think if we go down across this bridge, if memory serves, we go across this bridge and then we'll go across one more bridge and that'll take us into town. I don't know how much money I have, but If I can buy a little more meat, I might do that too, because you can never have too much food. Unless it's canned goods and you overstock during COVID. It's like I have a bunch of these canned goods in my house. Like some of them have expired, but then like, you know, how cans are, like they don't really go bad, so. I don't really want to eat some of them, so it's kind of like, eh. All right. I need to look at the map. Where am I? Okay, yep. So I'm on the right path. So we just went south over that bridge. And then we'll turn left up ahead, and that will take us into Piastavia. We got some nice deer here, but I'm not smart enough to know how to catch them, so we won't be worrying about that. So that's the landmark we're looking for. That big old stone standing over there kind of lets us know there is the crossroads. And there's a sign, so we know Piastavia is over this way, so. Yeah. There's the deer back out in the middle of the road. They know they don't need to worry about me because I'm not fast enough to catch them. And I think we can see the town starting to come into view. Now, from what I have seen, the place you go to recruit people is around the campfire. So there should be like people hanging out around the outside of town. Basically like how it would be, well, I guess now with all the immigration stuff, like it's not so good anymore, but it used to be you go to Home Depot and you got a bunch of folks who'd be sitting around outside looking for work. Now people are too scared to do that, I guess. That's a bummer. But that's basically the idea. We'll be out here, see who we can find. And then I know the goal is to find a spouse and get married so that we can actually create the dynasty. So I don't know, like, here's the people. Here they are. I don't know if I'm looking for workers or if I'm looking for a wife. Maybe I'm looking for both. So talk to her. Okay, so there's a romance option. Is that really how it goes? Like all we do is like, hey, greetings. Anything I can help you with? Well, we'll try the romance option. You seem very interesting. Can I ask you something? Let's see, what are these options? I love the local cuisine. What's your favorite food? Do you have a favorite color? Mine is brown. I don't really know why. It just always made me feel safe. Where do you come from? Tell me something about your birthplace. Well, let's see. Where'd you come from? She says, I don't remember much before the orphanage. We called it the house. Creative? Right. It wasn't much, but at least we could feel like we belonged somewhere. Well, do I have anything? I don't have anything to give her. Oops. Okay, so we got a tutorial message. Finding a spouse is the first step to secure your dynasty's survival. Your future spouse will move into your house and aid you in various tasks. One day, they may provide you with an heir, but nothing comes easy. First, you'll have to win their heart. Okay. So, for this, let's just see. I wonder if these are voiced, because if there's voice acting, that'd be cool to see that. So, we'll turn on the voice acting again. Hello. Now, that's not anything super great in the voice acting department. So I can't give her anything because I don't have anything. So let's see. What's your biggest dream? When I was a kid, I wanted to be an adventurer, but now I don't know. I just wish to be happy.
I have a feeling that even I
Yeah. Okay, she liked that. She said, I don't dream big. One may say I don't dream at all, because I'd rather have goals to actually achieve than dreams to wish for. And my main goal is to work as hard as I can to build the best life possible. Well, let's see. Okay. Since childhood, I have been afraid of heights. It seems every time I fall, I hurt myself. What is your biggest fear? Work can often get under our skin. What do you do in your spare time? Today is pretty tiresome for me, but fruitful nevertheless. And how is your day going? Well, yeah, I guess I've been building those houses, so it has been kind of tiresome. We'll go with that one. She says it was not as productive as I would like. So pretty standardly, to be honest. All right. Well, okay. So probably we should just kind of... We'll probably kind of leave her there for a minute and see. So... Like, I don't know if we need to get married first, or if we can just kind of like find some workers. Okay, so let's see about this dude. Vargarod. I'm creating a new settlement and I'm looking for good people willing to join me. Yeah. Let's see here. How about you? Small talk. How's your day going? My mouth is watering at the thought of the food resources that are gathered for wintertime. I hope that this autumn's harvests will result in my belly being full during all upcoming cold days. Have
a good day.
Okay. Well. Hello. All right. So you know what? I don't know. I think what we're going to do is we're going to hire this dude. Because I don't know. Like, here's the first dude I encountered. Yes. All right. Okay, so Vargarod said, sure. I had a hunch our conversation would end like that. Great. See you there. Okay. You can accommodate every newcomer in the house of your choosing. Keep in mind that only man and woman can be grouped together in a house, which in consequence will result in them having children over time. All right. So you cannot have two dudes in the same house together. So, all right. So that kind of makes sense. All right. So this dude is going to be our employee. And now what I want to do is figure out management. All right. So I don't have a house that I can give him. So that's not good. Okay. Because I have a house for myself, but I do not have a house for my employees. So I guess we gotta rush on back home and see if we can figure that out. Now we went over the two bridges to get here, but we're going to just kind of follow the riverbank back. It is interesting though, like with all the gender identity crises that seem to happen in gaming. here we don't have a problem with that. And in Medieval Dynasty, it just kind of makes sense that men and women have to, I guess, be together to make heirs, which is pretty obvious and not all that revolutionary on any measure whatsoever. But then lately, in modern times, we've started to have a little bit of confusion about some of those things. It's a little bit weird. But I did wonder, though, like, can I have two of the same gender people in a house? Like, I know they're not going to have babies, but they can't live. So I guess, like, we don't do roommates in this game. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. I guess maybe the villagers, like, there's not really a marriage system, so it just kind of automatically expects that if you have two people in the house, then they are married. And we don't have the same-sex couples in medieval Europe. I don't know. Now, see, with all of that stuff, I think people should be able to enjoy their life however they wish, but then all that, it goes both ways, really. Like, you have, like, the wokesters on one side, and then you have the bigots on the other. Like, the good position on this would be somewhere in the middle, you know? Like, I have no problem with the gays, but it'd be a little bit too much when people start saying that if you use the word man and woman, then that's somehow closed-minded or bigoted or something. Like, then it's like, okay, it's a little bit too much now. Because, like, there is such a thing as a man and such a thing as a woman, and they are not identical. So if that's a revolutionary idea, then I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, wasn't really planning on talking about that, but that's what popped into my head because of this game. So I'm a little bit over encumbered. We're going to make our way back, but I saw those stones and I was like, I can't pass up these stones because I'm always looking for stones, struggling to find them. Really is nice seeing how the fall leaves are falling. Just feels very nice. Beautiful, crisp, cheerful fall day. And we're well on our way to creating a dynasty. But we are going to have to get married here soon, because one thing you have to remember in this game is that people grow old and they die. So you don't want to wait too long, because you get old and you die, then there's no dynasty for you. But I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if I'm giving myself, like, real life advice or what, because sometimes that's when you're single, you got to think about these things, because the weird thing is, like, life is really good when you are by yourself and you can just mind your own business and not have to worry about other people's problems. But that also can become a problem if you spend your whole life just doing your thing and you never actually get to a point where you are sharing it with someone. So that's the thing, right? Like, you want to figure out how to enjoy your life to the fullest and also share it with those who will go on after you in some way, which is the theme of life and also the theme of Medieval Dynasty. So this house here is going to be the future home of this young man that we have hired who agreed to be part of our settlement. And that's excellent. But I feel like it's a little bit concerning that I found this guy, brought him to the settlement, but didn't actually have a place for him to live yet. That's a little bit short-sighted on my part. But, you know, building houses is not too difficult in this game, so I would imagine we'll be fine. All we need is logs and sticks. I wonder if we have enough straw for the roof. Maybe. No, we need some. We're gonna need more logs. Now that musical theme actually sounds a little bit like one of the themes from the King's Quest games. It's kind of interesting. So I don't quite have enough straw. I need 5 more straw. See, my thoughts are that this gentleman I just hired is going to become a hunter. So he's going to live right next to the hunter's shack. Because that would be, you know, that kind of makes sense, right? He can live there and then he can come out and he can go right to work. We should probably go over here and get a drink of water real quick. The biggest thing that kept me from wanting to play this game to begin with was that sense that all the houses kind of look the same. I thought, you know, I don't know. Like, when you get done building a bunch of houses that look similar, will your settlement look super samey, or is there a way to kind of have that creative freedom to create something that feels unique? But the more I see what people do with the game, the more I realize, like, yeah, there's a lot of customization you can do. Like, you don't have to just... You don't have to have a generic looking settlement. It can be interesting. Kind of cool how the sun is low in the sky and it's getting ready to set, and you can totally see that vibe of that last little bit of golden hour before the sun goes down, when it's almost dusk, but the sun is still up for that, just that little bit before it gets dark. Like, they got that right. So we just have a few sticks left to get, and we will be in business. You really can't overstate how important the little details like the sound of singing birds or rustling grasses or, you know, just like that kind of stuff. Like, just creates that sense of immersion and atmosphere, which is pretty incredible when it's done right. Okay, 2 more logs to finish the inside. You know, I was watching a video of a guy who was talking about how important gaming has been in his life after he became a father and kind of got busy with other things. And he was saying, you know, like, it feels like you lose a part of your identity when life gets busy and you know, have a family to provide for and different things like that. And yet, you know, it's important that you don't lose that sense of self, right? And it's not to say that you don't appreciate the life you have, but if you lose that sense of who you are, it can be, you know, that can be bad for your mental health. And I thought that was really good and really true. Like, whether you're focused on your job or you're focused on your family, the more you're focused on things that are important in life, the more important it is to make dedicated time for the things that maybe aren't, the things like imagination, the things like, you know, playing a game like this and being mindful through all of those moments in your life when you're tempted to kind of potentially lose a little bit of a sense of yourself because you're so busy maybe doing things that maybe they're good, important things. Maybe they're things that you love for others, though. And so taking time for that stuff in your life, it gets even more important. The more busy you get, the more tempted you are to have distractions in your life, the more important it is to take time. Take time for the stuff that will help you to be calm through the storm and help you to preserve that sense of self in a world that often tends to strip us of maybe a sense of who we are. All right, so again, it's late and it's dark and I can't see inside my own house. So that's going to be a thing to do, to figure out how do I get some light. I can light a torch though. So let's see if we can find some food. Now I wonder if I put some of this food into the resource storage here. Put some logs in there too. I wonder if my villager will be able to take care of meeting his needs. So the villager has a house, but he doesn't have any food, doesn't have any water. So my question is, how do we make sure that he gets the food and water that he needs? Like, I have a well here, so I would think that he should be able to... I would think that he should be able to go to the well and get what he needs. Anyway, we're going to assign him to work at the hunting lodge. And I guess, since we've managed to build a couple buildings and recruit one villager, then that is going to be where I leave this first episode of playing some Medieval Dynasty. And we will leave it there until next time. Hopefully our village winds up being a successful one, and it'll be interesting to see how it evolves over time. In any case, as always, thanks so much for watching.